Welcome to another video in this series of videos from AvenueX looking at Chinese actors. Today we're talking about the queen of dramas and films in China, Zhou Xun. You're watching AvenueX, where junkie and good storytelling shares their thoughts, knowledge, and occasional weird ideas on stories and how they're told. Zhou Xun is one of the most, in my opinion, talented actresses in China. And I think for a lot of industry people in China, in the drama and filmmaking industry, they would also agree if they have to make a list of a handful of the best actresses, Zhou Xun would definitely be on the list. And the funny thing is, she never actually got trained as an actress. Zhou Xun was born on October the 18th, 1974. So she pretty much belongs to another generation of actors compared to all the actors I've talked about in my previous videos in this series. Her hometown is Quzhou from the province Zhejiang. Zhou Xun's father is a professional projectionist at a local cinema. As early as 3 years old, she was already in and out of the cinemas with her father. When her father brought her to his working place to take care of her, she would be watching films all day. The smell that comes from the film stock becomes something that is linked to her childhood, and because of her familiarity with that scent, later, when she actually got into film industry, she felt she's really at ease whenever she enters a film studio, just because it smells like her childhood. During her earlier years, she was a pretty good student at academic studies, at the point where she needs to think about whether she wants to go to a very good high school where her scores actually qualifies, or going to an art school. She picked the latter and studied folk dancing. Although in her portfolio of works that is so huge, she hardly ever depicts a professional dancer, but the years of training in Chinese folk dancing has definitely lent a hand to her acting career. During the years she was in the dancing school, she already got offers as models for calendars. The very old-fashioned calendars, I still remember when I was little, that was popular in China. Pretty much every family will have quite a few every year. And she got offered at the age of 17, while she was still there, to play a very small role in a film directed by the director Xie Tieli called 古木荒斋, in which she played a very young, naive fox demon, 狐狸精. I could totally see why the director picked her for that role, because even till today, when she's running towards her 50-year-old mark, she's still widely recognized as this person who is closest to being an elf or a fairy, something that is other than human, who just has that touch of supernatural, nimble, and sparkling quality. After she graduated from the dancing school, she didn't go to universities because she already had a taste of the film industry. She went to Beijing to test out her luck, and also because she has got small offers here and there. Between 1993 to 1999, she's been in multiple smaller, bigger projects, playing mostly supporting roles, films, television series. And even though none of those roles got her famous, she already got spotted by the industry people. I still remember one of the interviews, not on her, but on a different person who's been in the industry for a long time, talking about her when she was back then very young in the 90s, was she has this ability as if she has eyes on her back. When she's filming a scene with another actor or actress and the camera is behind her, so over her shoulder filming the other person, and they're moving in a scene, she never blocks the camera. She kind of knows where the camera is and where she is and how she should act for the camera. It's almost like instinctive. And that got noticed by the opponents, and just saying she's born to basically 吃这碗饭, eat this bowl of rice, literal meaning, which is you're kind of made for a particular profession. So Zhou Xun never went to acting school, but I guess it has a lot to do with her childhood because she watched so many films with her father. She probably has internalized a lot of great performances, the sense of being an actor and an actress without actually getting any professional teaching. In 1999, she is already signed to 荣信达, Rosat. At that time, late 90s, early 2000s was really the golden ages for that particular production company, which has the boss, Li Xiaowan, who is the producer of the works that come out of that company, and then the director, Li Shaohong, who is her childhood friend, working as the directors for all those projects, and Zeng Nianping, who is the husband of Li Shaohong, working as the DP. That team worked so well. During those years, some of the best, most interesting, most unusual, and even edgy dramas and films got produced in that company. And in a way, that company discovering Zhou Xun and Zhou Xun signing up that company worked for each other, because she is pretty much present in most of the highly influential productions that this company has produced. Their fate is definitely highly and deeply intertwined. So what happened in 2000? In that year, she got 2 dramas and 1 film came out. The film Suzhou He, the Suzhou River, got her the Best Actress Award at Paris International Film Festival. The 2 dramas that came out, still till today, widely recognized as 2 of the most influential dramas of the early 2000s. One being 人间四月天, April Rhapsody, where she plays Lin Huiying, a real person that existed in China's history, opposite Huang Lei, who played Xu Zhimo, another real person who is a famous poet during the Republic of China time. The other drama being 大明宫词, The Palace of Desire, that is focusing on the princess of Wu Zetian, the first female emperor of China. If you are old enough and also have watched Chinese dramas for long enough, you probably have heard both productions and even have watched them. Although the April Rhapsody drama often gets debated by very serious historians, because a lot of the things it depicts are not really real, and certainly the descendants of the people that the drama depicts by Huang Lei and also Zhou Xun weren't very happy about it. But it was so popular back then. As for 大明宫词, well, that drama probably deserves 10 videos to talk about it. Everything about it is so unusual, so unique, so edgy, never seen before in many ways, and never seen again. Do let me know if you want me to make a video about that drama, and we can go into details about it. But anyway, it has a milestone meaning to Chinese dramaland, and Zhou Xun, she played the younger version of the female lead characters, so she does grow up into Chen Hong, who plays the later adult character. But her portrayal of the princess, was just like, I remember I fangirled her back then when I was relatively young, and long before any idea about fandom was even born in China, I was like captivated by her. I liked her so much. She's my ideal version of an ancient imperial princess. Although she did get dubbed, because her natural voice, we'll talk about later, is so low that it's just too far from people's imagination about a young, sweet princess. Although those are just the beginning of her career, she has so much to come. But those 2 did make her known and changed her status in the film and television industry. The next year, 2001, another very influential drama came out that features so many famous people today, called 相互相与又相逢, a Republic of China setting romantic story. Really high romance, and sometimes today when you look back, it's like trope filled. But back then it was refreshing and the acting was top notch. It's pretty much like film award winning acting level going into a idol romantic script. Zhou Xun, Chen Kun, Li Xiaoran, Sun Honglei. I mean, just think about the ensemble cast, how incredible that is. It's still one of my favorite Republic of China romantic drama. If you haven't seen that, it's definitely a drama worth digging out and watch, although it is old. That it's 4:3 and no high definition. Now I'm running into the dilemma of making this video, because if I want to talk about everything she's been in live, watched, I loved, this video is going to go to 50 minutes and 1 hour long, because she's been around for a long time and her portfolio is like probably twice as big as everybody we've ever talked about in this series of videos. So I'll try my best to quickly run through them and let you know those work exist, and you can go and try to find out where you can watch them if you're interested. 2002, a film and a drama. The film is called 巴尔扎克与小裁缝. English title is The Chinese Seamstress, and it's a story set in Cultural Revolution. She's a young girl in the mountainous region, a country region, who is a seamstress, and she meets 2 men who come from the city, which is during Cultural Revolution, the Zhiqing, the young people who got sent to the countryside to learn the farmers, the peasants' life and work. It's a very major thing that happened during those years in China. It's a love story between the girl and the two boys. In the countryside, the village the story is setting is in Sichuan and eventually got submerged by the building of the Three Gorges Dam. The drama is 橘子红了. It's another Rosette production with all the Rosette veteran actors. It is also set in the Republic of China time. It is a domestic love story about a young girl who got basically sold to a family to be married to an older man as the third wife to him because the first wife, the older woman who played her mother in 大明宫词, couldn't give birth to a child. So she's basically used as the womb to give birth to children. But then she had other ideas. She had a awakening of her own ideas and stuff. It's a very interesting drama. It has very ghostly music, but I loved it. Zhou Xun, Huang Lei, Gui Yalei, brilliant acting. A little bit slow-paced and sometimes looking a little bit scary with its music. 2003 would be the last year of her mainly focusing on dramas. Afterwards, she started to do a lot of films, almost exclusively films, until later she got back to Dramaland. But 2003, she is Huang Rong in the China mainland version of 射雕英雄传, the Condor Heroes. I liked her Huang Rong a lot. I even bought the DVDs, I think, or at the time it's VCD. I love her portrayal, but her portrayal got quite contested because she used her own voice. It's very different from people's preconception of Huang Rong, a very lively, sweet, bubbly, and mischievous girl. But I didn't care about that. I loved her. I don't care about what other people say about her voice being not fitting. She is one of the best Huang Rongs I've ever seen. From that point on, pretty much until 2014, she's in mostly films and many films, many different types of films. And whether the film did well in terms of box office or awards, she did really well in each and every one of them, proving again and again that she's just born for camera. She just has it. What can you say? Not saying she didn't put hard work into it. That is unfair to any actor and actresses who have been successful. Nobody can do it just based on their talent. But there's also a saying that once you've hit a certain level, you'll realize how important talent is. Because without talent, you'll never be able to do that final quantum leap. So there are a couple films that I will quickly mention. 恋爱中的宝贝, 宝贝儿, In Love. Very unusual, also produced by Rosette and the director Li Shaohong, who has at that point being her long-term collaborator at Rosette. 如果爱, Perhaps Love, one of the first music film at the time in China and got her a lot of awards. 2006, she was in the film 夜宴, The Banquet, that's directed by Feng Xiaogang. Today, it's mostly talked about because Zhang Ziyi's performance as the female lead of that film, but she plays the supporting role, which is also very well done. 2008, 厘米的猜想, The Equation of Love and Death, one of her best films in many people's opinion. That film I highly recommend you go and find and watch her performance. There's this take of her chasing after the guy, former boyfriend, but disappeared from her life and she met again. That performance was just like mind-blowing. And every actress who has seen that scene would be jealous about it. It's like, when could I ever do that type of performance? I'm not gonna spoil it for you. You have to go and watch this film. She also got 画皮, painted skin. That if you've been watching actors, please get ready. Stand by. That's going on. There's Guo Jingming's iteration. It's not doing the justice to it, the original film. It is also a very well-known film back then, and it has a second film in that entire franchise, but totally taking a different setup of characters. She's also in Fengsheng, the film Message, a heightened lockdown in a castle and trying to find out who is the mole type of very intense film that also features Li Bingbing and Huang Xiaoming and Zhang Hanyu. In 2014, she finally got back to the Dramaland and she played the leading role Jiu Er in Hong Gao Liang. Hong Gao Liang is a very famous IP that was firstly done as a film that was directed by Zhang Yimou and then led by Gong Li. Now this is the drama version. She plays the lead, Huang Xuan plays one of the male lead, and Zhu Yawen plays the other male lead. At the time, she's already 40 years old, and she's playing a girl who's like in her teenager years. And a lot of people were worried, like, how could you make that convincing? And then when they see her, it's like, totally. If you don't tell me she's 40, You cannot tell. And the way she plays the character is so convincing. As a fiercely spirited girl, what can I say? She's just meant for this business. And then she also had other films that came out. I'm not gonna go into each and every one of them, but as time goes on, she starts to basically become slower at producing works. Because I guess, she doesn't need more works to prove her position in the industry, and whatever comes her way, she would pick it very carefully. She only does it when she thinks it's worth doing. And honestly, not many people can afford hiring her because she's just the top actress. Then in 2018, the shelved for a while, long-form period palace drama 如懿传 came out on web only when it was first designed to go on satellite TV. But because it ran into the restriction of period drama policy that happened then, so a lot of the satellite TV stations literally didn't have slot for period dramas anymore. And because it unfortunately ran into 延禧攻略 the story of Yanxi Palace, which was super popular. People already had enough of Qing Dynasty drama, so when it came out, it didn't do well. Although this drama is not so well received by the public and by the critics, nobody ever had any problem with Zhou Xun's acting. They would always say something, it's like, Zhou Xun's acting aside, this drama has this problem. But she did such a good job. She kind of slaughtered Wallace Huo, let's be honest, in the drama. When Emperor and Empress facing off each other, the guy just totally lost the acting game. She's the nuclear bomb. She's the atomic weapon. Most people who want to challenge her gets destroyed. The recent tiny project she did for Vogue, the magazine, with Wang Yibo, I've watched that. I really liked it. She's so at ease, right, playing those tiny things that don't really have to have a plot, just have a few moments and feelings of the characters. And you can tell she's not like even at 100% of her full ability, but that's enough. And when I was watching that, I was like, I wish if Wang Yibo is lucky enough that in the future that he can get a project that's a proper length thing, whether it's a drama or a film, that Zhou Xun is in it, and they can act opposite each other, he would learn so much from her. Being a person who is so good at learning, as Wang Yibo is, it's gonna help his acting for sure. I've mentioned most of the works that I have seen or I've really highly appreciate, but there are more. So if you really want to dig through Zhou Xun as an actress, her filmography, her dramas, everything she's been in, her singing, there's just too much. Like, you can't lock yourself in a room and not going out and watch her stuff for a month straight, and you still wouldn't be able to see everything. That's how much work she has out there. A couple of really interesting things about her is, first, she has the most unique voice that I've ever heard from Chinese film or drama and from an actress. You look at how tiny she is and her facial structures, and you almost feel she has to have a really sweet and high-pitched voice, but then she speaks, you're like, oh, what? Sometimes she can even pretend to be a guy, and you wouldn't immediately recognize it's being spoken by a woman. Because of her unique voice quality, when she sings, she just sounds so unusual. Because Chinese songs sung in Mandarin by women are pretty much all like at that pitch, and she is different. She's in her own pitch. You hardly ever hear another voice, even in the professional singers world, Chinese singers, who has that quality of voice. She has a particular way of speaking Mandarin, probably because she's from the south of China. So although her tonal quality of the Mandarin is perfect, her flat tongue and her curled tongue sound are perfect. So the zi, zi, si, and zhi, chi, shi are very clearly pronounced and correct. She often, 80% of the time, drops the 后鼻音, which is a very typical southern way of pronunciation, dropping the on sound of a character. For example, 行动, action, she would pronounce it as 行动 without the on at 行. It's her trademark. And somehow, because of how unique her voice sounds and how good she is at pacing and everything, I don't even care about she dropping the on in her Mandarin. I'm also from the southwest of China, so when I'm not trying hard, I often drops the on too. If you're interested in learning Mandarin and watching her dramas, pay attention and be aware that she doesn't always pronounce it 100% correctly. The other thing that's very well known about her is she is the long-term, kind of the longest term friend you can have in the industry. with Chen Kun. Although they never really went to a school together, they were in the same company, Rosette. When she signed in, he also signed into Rosette. And they've been collaborating since then. They have formed such a good friendship. The level of dedication they have for each other and how far they are willing to go for each other as friends are unusual. Not just in the industry, but even like just in any average person's life, you hardly ever see this type of heterosexual friendship that are so tightly bond. And I'm not trying to turn this channel into a gossip channel, but there's a lot of stories about Chen Kun, Zhou Xun, and Zhao Wei, Huang Xiaoming. I mean, one day I hope they would write biography or autobiography about their life when they're much older and talk about that friendship, because it's just so unusual. These days, Zhou Xun is at the point in the industry where it is purely her picking projects, deciding what to do, and having kind of the highest level of say of projects rather than being picked by other people. And she's such a unique existence in Chinese drama land in terms of kind of never failed at acting in any of the projects. Even when the projects don't do well, she never gets criticized for her acting. She never got trained as an actress in any way, although she also is very, very hardworking and people often forget about that. An actress who is just shining with her talent and uniqueness. I have been a fan of hers for over 20 years. And because she has taken that position, so as long as she lives on and I live on, that record would not be broken for me. Okay, so that would be the end of this video. Thank you for watching Avenue X. I'll see you in my next video. Meanwhile, live long and happy drama watching.